This is it, our final title game from Husky Stadium in DeKalb. We are gearing up for the heavyweights, our 8A title matchup between Lincoln Way East and Loyola. If you've been watching with us or just joining in, welcome in. I'm Sierra Santos alongside Edgy Tim, and we've seen some incredible finishes on this championship Saturday, including this last game, the 7A title game, going to overtime.
Yeah, again, I think you're really hard-pressed to find a better state championship weekend, especially in recent memory. I mean, we've had some great games. We've had blowouts in some years, but overall, the consistency of the play, I mean, even today, you know, with 5A Phillips, it's been kind of a reflection of what I think a lot of good teams in this state this year. I don't know if we have the great dominant team, but we sure have a whole heck of a lot of good teams, and we've seen it here today for sure.
And we're looking forward to another evenly matched game coming up with the 8A title game. And for more on that, let's send it up to our play-by-play team of Hub Arkish and Dave Bernhardt.
Well, thank you very much, Sierra and Edgy. Great to have you with us. And here's the matchup we've all been waiting for, right? The perfect record of Lincoln Way East, 13-0. Loyola, winners of 12 straight, 12-1 record. Here they come. They're no stranger to this championship ball game, but Hub, to get here, I guess it's true for any team, but especially for these, certain set of adversity that each of them had to go through.
Oh, there really is. You know, you look at the injuries that have just inundated this Loyola football team all year long. They've spent a good part of the season getting healthy. 3 underclassmen on the offensive line. John Holisek teams never see anything like that. And then, of course, Lincoln Way, you've got the situation. It was a couple years ago, but they went through the consolidation, sent some players away, got some new players in. Kids got to know each other, still did well in the playoffs last year, and now here they are this year, maybe even a favorite against Loyola.
Let's take a look at some of the key players in this ball game. One on offense, one on defense. For Loyola, Quinn Boyle. On defense, it'll be Devin O'Rourke.
Well, and Quinn Boyle may be the dominant quarterback in Illinois high school football this year. He can do it all. He is a real threat through the air, very mobile as well. And then you look at Devin O'Rourke. He is an Under Armour All-American. Will be going to Orlando for the Under Armour All-American Bowl, going on to Northwestern. We're told he's loyal to Coach Fitz. Other schools are still calling. The dominant defensive player in the state of Illinois this year. That should make for a great matchup.
The IHSA this year decided to go with a new trophy design, though even though each of these schools have a state championship trophy, none look like that one. There's your 2017 Class 8A football championship trophy. We have the game coming up next. The 2017 IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simple steps. And by Biaggi's, where carry-out and curbside pickup make it easy to enjoy the great taste of Biaggi's at home. Visit Biaggi's online at biaggi's.com.
We are just moments away from this final IHSA football championship slate. Loyola against Lincoln Way East, and Edgy, we both know both teams have gritty defenses. So what is going to be the deciding factor in this? Let's get to your keys of the game.
Sure, absolutely. Let's talk about Loyola. If you are the Ramblers, I think you need to make Lincoln Way East throw the football to beat you. Take away that running game. Lincoln Way East very seldom this year has have been forced to throw the ball. And offensively, the guys talked about it upstairs. Get Quinn Boyle off early, get him running, get him into the flow. Things go well when he does well for Loyola.
And how about Lincoln Way East?
Again, run to the ball and get AJ his touches. First of all, you want to get that running game. And when I talk AJ, I'm talking AJ Henning, who might be the most explosive player on the field tonight. And again, contain Quinn Boyle. Easier said than done.
How fun is this quarterback matchup going to be?
It's fun. A lot of things. A lot of things to watch. Watch Brendan Morrissey here. Was very gimped up at the end of that game last week. I'm wondering how healthy he is going into this ball game. So again, for Lincoln Way East, keep an eye on Brendan Morrissey to start this game.
And he will be on the field today,
he will.
Right?
He's ready to go. He was in warm-ups, but again, being in warm-ups and hitting game speed could be a little different. We'll see.
Not to mention it's a pretty chilly night out here.
Just a little.
All right, when we come back, it is kickoff of our 8A title game. Stick with us. Hub and Dave have the call.
With all the great games we have had already here in the 2017 Illinois High School Football Finals, this 8A matchup is the one folks we're looking forward to the most. It's the Loyola Ramblers and the Lincoln Way East Griffins, and we're glad to have you with us. From Husky Stadium in DeKalb, along with Hub Arkish, I'm Dave Bernhardt. Both these teams have already won some state titles in football. Loyola Academy most recently in 2015. They had another one in 1993, and for Lincoln Way East, their state championship came in 2005. They also have a second place finish. Here's how Loyola made their way to DeKalb. That win over Edwardsville 17-10. In fact, it was the only playoff game where Edwardsville scored against Loyola. The only points that Loyola has allowed in the first quarter this year. But it was a weird first round game, that 35-32 win over New Trier, a ball game that Loyola was leading by 25 points. For Lincoln Way East, their semifinal victory over Maine South, 24-14. It avenged a loss in the quarterfinals last year to Maine South, the eventual state champion, and it duplicated a win that Lincoln Way East had over Maine South in week 2. So for the Knights, they come from behind win against St. Charles East. That was their win. That was the biggest one of the stretch here, trailing with a minute 13 to play, and then got a field goal late, and that's how they get here to DeKalb. Lincoln Way East coming in 13-0, Loyola at 12-1, and Hub, when you get to the 8A level, I think it becomes teams get here, yes, but it's programs that sustain it.
Well, it really is. You know, they've got a lot more athletes to work with, kids to pick from. It's not that they're recruiting so much as some of these schools like Loyola are destinations where young men come because they want to play football in college. They know they've got a better chance of developing here. You've got a former NFL great, John Holisek, who played for those Buffalo Bills teams in the 90s, one of the outstanding linebacker corps in history at the University of Illinois in terms of college football. You look at Rob Zvonar and the job that he's done at Lincoln Way East and all the D1 athletes that program has produced. And this is the big boys, you know, that's really what it comes down to. And they are literally bigger. I mean, you look at the size of these offensive and defensive lines. These kids are going to average 250, 260 across the front. So it's a slightly different kind of game. But at the end of the day, it's hard to imagine that we're going to see that much more class, that much more effort, that much more determination than what we just saw in that outstanding overtime 7A game.
And these teams have come by way of a rough schedule to get them here. In fact, for Lincoln Way East, they played 5 games against teams that won 10 or more games. And that included road wins at Maine South, at Lincoln Way Central, at home at Flossmoor, at Bolingbrook, and at St. Charles East. And, you know, if you want to add to that, 4 wins came over teams that did not lose any other games in the regular season. And of course, Loyola, out of the Chicago Catholic League, they have ground through a conference that year in and year out produces outstanding teams and just such a rugged schedule. But tonight, it really feels like in this game, Hub, it could be the defenses once again. And for Lincoln Way East, they've had 8 games where they've allowed a touchdown or less. For Loyola, 9 games allowing a touchdown or less. Rob Zvonar, the head coach at Lincoln Way East, he has a state championship. John Holisek has one as well. But the defense is big time.
Yeah, one thing they have very much in common with the 7A game, and for that matter 6A as well, is that offense is good, a lot of skilled players out here, but it's the defenses that have gotten these teams here. It's what makes them so evenly matched, and it's those 2 units we kind of expect to dominate tonight. You know, it's funny, last year we came here, and Loyola, it seems like they live here. And I thought they were going to roll Maine South. They get beat by Maine South fairly convincingly. You got a Lincoln Way team here that beat Maine South twice. This is a great matchup.
Dominic Jobin will put the ball in the air, and we are underway with that ball going deep into the end zone. 3rd straight year here in the state championship game for Loyola. Last year losing 27-17 to Maine South. And their head coach John Holisek in his 12th season in Wilmette, 135 wins, 27 losses. These teams are used to playing deep into the playoffs, and there is Quinn Boyle. We talked about him earlier. Look at those numbers. 20-4 touchdown to interception ratio. He's also rushed for 800 yards. He can do it all. So the Ramblers to start from their 20 here in your 8A championship game in 2017. We'll see several different running backs depending on the health of the running backs. Meet Bully in the backfield now, but the first pass of this game, and a completion, fumble, and recovery. Loyola just like that. The completion went to James Joyce, and it will be a net loss of 5 yards.
Interesting call there. You almost wonder if he had it long enough to call it a reception. I think he did. Probably a good call on the fumble. And Loyola very lucky to get on that football. Yeah, he put it away. And a really nice job from Joyce of putting his helmet on the ball.
Looked like Brendan Gallagher got his head on that ball. Loss of 5. It will be 2nd down and 15. Empty backfield for Boyle. He was looking left all the way and gets it to Noah Jones, 6'2", 195-pound junior. Offensively for Loyola, led by Quinn Boyle. We talked about the health. Hamid Boley has been banged up last year and this year. Then a couple of receivers, James Joyce and Rory Booz, combining for 87 receptions. Hub talked about the offensive line. It has truly been a work in progress this season because of injuries. Peter Janaris, one of the guards, a sophomore. Christopher Kelly has had to play both guard and tackle this year due to injuries. Boyle on 3rd down. And they're up in the air for the 1st down reception. Boyle just laid it out there, and he found Rory Booz. Booz with his 38th catch of the season.
Talking to John Holisek this week, he kind of laughed. He said, you know, Rory Booz, he's got kind of a funny body for a big wide receiver. Got a brother on the team, looks just like him, but don't pay attention to the scrawny 160. The kid's a big-time ball catcher.
Picks up 10 yards and a 1st down. Boyle to keep it. And this will be an offense that will play fast against this Lincoln Way defense. You have your defensive line led by Devin O'Rourke. He is double-teamed, triple-teamed constantly, and it really opens the door for 3 other good ones. Dylan Shelton, Ben Rivetto, and Jaden Hacha. Great linebacking core. The Christensen brothers along with Declan Carr. And again, Booz knocked out of bounds by Kwaku Apia.
Dave, you talk about Devin O'Rourke being double-teamed, triple-teamed. He is 6'6", 250 pounds, a truly special football player, a 2-time Conference Player of the Year, an All-American, going to Northwestern, and he's got 13 sacks and 21 tackles for loss on the season.
Boyle in the first minute and 15 seconds completed all 4 of his passes. Here's the first carry for Bully, and he is turned back.
Bully, one of those guys we talked to Coach Holisek about, injured early in the season, has been able to come back, been more effective recently, got dinged up a little bit again in the playoffs. They've been hopeful that he can be close to full speed tonight. He's not 100%, but they think he's about as close to that as he's been at any point this season.
And 4th down and about a yard. No chances here early in this 8A title game. Loyola to punt. Thomas Schaefer averaging 30 yards per kick. This one floating down to Apia, and he is buried. Give credit, first of all, to Apia, Kwaku Apia, for concentrating, and then John Lynch with the label job.
You'll see Lynch coming down, timing it up perfectly. He saw that there was no fair catch. A 5'11", 170-pound senior. He'll be starting at cornerback for this defense, and that is one outstanding special teams play to save the field position battle.
Lincoln Way East to start at the 29-yard line. First carry will go to Ryan Siana. Siana, the workhorse back. He will get those dirty yards. And he comes up a little lame. There's Brendan Morrissey, the quarterback. You see his numbers throwing the ball, 1,400 yards. He's the leading rusher for Lincoln Way East with over 1,000 yards. He too has that great touchdown to interception ratio. Jordan Corbett now has to sprint into the backfield for Lincoln Way East. It's on the near side is A.J. Henning. He is a game breaker. The Ramblers tie him up quickly on the stop for Loyola, number 51. That will be Patrick Daniels. There is the Lincoln Way East total offensive line. We just saw Siana and Henning. Shane Pedersen, a big wide receiver that can go get it. Turner Palisart does so many things for this team. Then the offensive line, which has been so good for Lincoln Way East. You have Huey, a 3-year starter. So does Santo and Eggert, 2-year starters. Nothing doing. Shooting through the backfield, Armani Dixon, Division I prospect, 6'3", 220-pound junior.
Yeah, there was never anything there for him on that play. And the bottom line is both teams early on unable to get short first, third down conversions. And so now we will see the first punt from Lincoln Way East.
Dominic Jobin does the kicking of all sorts. He averages 41.5 yards per punt. Not much wind to speak of here tonight. Cool 36 degrees, though, at game time. We played 4 minutes. We've had 2 punts. Your 8A championship game, a couple of heavyweights, scoreless early. Loyola Academy, Lincoln Way East. Let's take a look at some information about Loyola Academy. The Ramblers, as we said, coming out of the Chicago Catholic League. Wilmette is the home of the building that has an official enrollment multiplier of 3,300. And Patrick Mahoney, the athletic director for Loyola Academy. The Ramblers ready to go from their 36-yard line. They had the huge win, 30-10 over Marist in the quarterfinals. Dominating performance. A quick handoff up the middle, and here come those black jerseys. Lincoln Way said they had the ball, and I don't believe the officials are going to buy that one.
We've seen a lot of that tonight, haven't we?
Number 8 there is Max Cesario, 2-year starter for the Griffins. Oh, what a catch. That ball just floated down into the hands of Rory Booz. He was on his back, sitting down almost on his back. And he makes the grab, his second catch of the night.
Yeah, Boyle decided he was going to throw that very early, but he got the ball behind Booz. And this is interesting because, you know, talking to Holisek, he told us this kid is a special receiver. If the ball's near him, he's going to grab him, and that's a beautiful catch on his backside.
Boyle 5 for 5 on the night. And now with the legs. And a stiff arm. Quinn Boyle, 6'1", 180-pounder. He's an all-stater. He was also the Chicago Catholic League Wallace Award winner. That's for the Player of the Year in the conference. And Quinn Boyle broke his thumb this summer, and a play that John Holisek really regretted. He hit his hand on the helmet of one of his teammates. He got the cast off, and his pin's taken out of the hand 5 days before Loyola opened the season against Phillips. And Phillips knocked off Loyola as the Ramblers were denied on a 4th and goal on the final play of the ball game.
Yeah, I'm guessing, I'm not guessing, I'm sure, Dave, a lot of our viewers are aware of it, but Chicago Catholic League football is good as you're going to find anywhere in the country at the high school ranks. And there you see a 6'1", 180-pound quarterback. He was just taking it up the middle all the way. And while that's not great size for the position at the next level, it's big for a high school quarterback. He's a solid runner as well as passer, and he's been a real offensive threat for him all year long.
Ramblers with already 3 first downs here in the first 5.5 minutes. Good to sophomore running back Tyler Flores, and he is just another one of these backs that have come through here that have had to play. Trevor Cabanban had a huge game, almost 200 yards against Marist, the sophomore who was just brought up for the playoffs. He injured an ankle. We may not see him tonight. We talked about Bully's health problems. Reese Logan had a big ball game last week, and tonight it's sophomore Tyler Flores getting early action. Flores will get it. And he is grabbed by Gus Christensen, and he will not let go.
It really was stunning, Dave, visiting with the coaches this week. I'm not even going to try and detail the list of injuries because it seems like at some point almost everybody on the Loyola offense, the skill position, was banged up. And again, starting 3 underclassmen on the offensive line because of the injuries, that's unheard of at Loyola.
In fact, Assistant Athletic Director Kevin McDonough, has been there 40 years, says the worst injuries he has ever seen in terms of the number of injuries. Nice breakup. The intended receiver was Booz. It's Kweku Apia, the 5'10", 165-pound senior. He got a 42-yard punt return for a touchdown against St. Charles East, and that was huge. That was that 15-4 win for the Griffins over East. And now 4th and 7. Flag goes down. Boyle to the middle of the field. A flag was thrown during Boyle's scramble.
That is a decision that Boyle got away with, but you make that at the next level, or God forbid in the NFL, and you get your butt benched. You do not stop hard, come back and throw the ball across your body into the middle of the football field.
On the offense, number 67. That penalty is declined. First down, Lincoln Way East.
So the ball will go over to the Griffins. Our officials tonight, Tom Hugg, the referee, Steve Bessie, the linesman, the umpires, Jeff Conrad, line judge Patrick Geary, and Mike Melito, the back judge. And this is how it looks for the Griffins from Lincoln Way East, building in Frankfort, Will County, 2,900. The enrollment, and Mark Vanderkoy, the athletic director at Lincoln Way East High School. Griffins take over at the 39. This is Corbett on the carry. Remember, Sienna went off limping early. Ryan Sienna, who had rushed for 696 yards coming into this game.
And while we did not hear as much about Lincoln Way injuries as we did Loyola, Sienna is another one who was hurt earlier in the season, came back, played very well, and that's a big loss now if he's going to be unable to be at full speed for them tonight.
Well, actually, he just came onto the field, so evidently he's doing okay. He's lined up along the right side of Morrissey. The pass in traffic is complete, and that goes to the tight end, the do-everything receiver for Lincoln Way East. That is Turner Palisard. That's his 38th catch of the season. He's headed to Iowa as a preferred walk-on.
You know, it was interesting talking to Rob Zvonar about his quarterback, Brendan Morrissey, who was an all-state running back last year, switches to quarterback. He said it's not that unusual. He actually was a quarterback. His brother quarterbacked here, but we had seniors that were so good. We played him at running back last year. He said, you're going to notice, though, he's a little unusual throwing the ball, a little unconventional, not a pure passer back there.
He's been effectively at 69% this year. Kind of slings it. He'll do it again. Oh, it's just a bit too much for Shane Pedersen.
You know, it's almost, Dave, he's still learning the position. He's a great athlete. He can play anywhere on the field. He's a difference maker, but he's not a pure thrower back there. While he's had his entire senior season to do it, and he did have 135 attempts. I mean, let's be honest, that's not a lot of pass attempts for a starting quarterback at a program like this.
Once again, Lincoln Way East will have to punt. Kyle McGarvey deep for Loyola. No pressure on Jobin. High spiraling kick. Well, that sails all the way down to the 15-yard line, and McGarvey had to just let it settle into his hands. It's been a defensive and punting game here early. We still have 4:06 to play in the first. All those folks in the stands that have been here this weekend at DeKalb and on the field have been very happy about the weather we have had. Clear, dry, a little bit of wind, but nothing like last weekend, a really ferocious weather day in the semifinals. So play has been great here on the field. We have had fantastic games. Just got done with an overtime game in Class 7A, won by Batavia over Lake Zurich. And now here we are, the top part of Class 8A. Boyle has been efficient in the air. Up in the air, making the catch and taking a hit, Charlie Gilroy. And he was labeled by Max Cesario.
You know, Dave, you talk about the weather. I did notice in the 7A game that the entire second half, nobody on the Batavia or Lake Zurich sideline sat down. And I thought maybe it was because it's getting cold and these are aluminum benches, but everybody's sitting now, so I guess it's not that uncomfortable out there.
That 7A game was pretty intense, wire to wire. Another completion. This goes to Noah Jones. Quinn Boyle has this quick passing attack going. He's completed 7 of 8.
And I think what we're seeing here, Dave, is also similar to what we saw in the 7A game. The running game is doing nothing early. Both sides got to the passing game. It looks now like Loyola is saying, hey, we're not doing much on the ground. Let's see if we can create some space to run by opening it up with the quick passing game on 1st and 2nd down.
Quick release. Free ball. Nope, incomplete. Once again, looking for Gilroy. There will be no lack of hitting here tonight.
You know, it's interesting, with a few exceptions, these kids aren't that much bigger than what we've seen, but they're quicker, they're more athletic. It's just, again, it's a bigger pool to pick from. It's not that they're better athletes, better football players, but when you've got more to pick from, you're going to get a few more at the top. And just see the way they closed on the ball on that play. There's some big-time popping going on out there.
This is 17th year of football in Lincoln Way East. The Griffins have made the playoffs every single year. Rob Zavoner, the only coach in Lincoln Way East history, and Zavoner has said, out of all those teams, this is the fastest team he has had. Good coverage downfield. And great pursuit by Devin O'Rourke. He just stayed right there and waited for Boyle to come to him.
Yeah, that was for the most part a two-man route. They had a receiver deep on the far sideline, a receiver deep on the near sideline. You had a safety valve come out late, but when you're only going to run two-man routes into these 4- and 5-man coverages, it's tough to get an opening, and that time Boyle couldn't decide whether to pull it down or to keep looking, and ended up wasting it down.
3rd and long. Again pressure, and down he goes.
Oh, it's the big man.
Devin O'Rourke, number 50, 6'6", 250 pounds. He had some help.
Yeah, we hate to focus on one guy. We did it with Jack Sanborn a bit in the last game, but you can see there, O'Rourke, he just splits a double team and he's there in a heartbeat. You talk about getting 3 seconds to throw the ball. Boyle didn't have 2 seconds. That was just a great play by O'Rourke.
Sack and a loss of 7. Schaefer the punt. This one is low. Boy, that almost hit one of the Griffins.
The way it bounced, I thought it might have kicked off his heel, but it didn't. It just had a little backspin on it.
25-yard punt for Schaefer gives the Griffins great field position near midfield. Well, we have 1:41 to play in an offensively uneventful first quarter. Both defenses have stood up.
You know, perhaps somewhat ironically, Dave, I know what a Rambler is, but I'm not sure what a Griffin is.
I know that, and I will figure it out. Lincoln Way East looking for their first down. First down. A.J. Henning just flat out dropped it. I believe a Griffin is a combination of a lion and some sort of flying creature.
Well, the mascot looks like a bald eagle with big wings on its back. I'm not sure. Well, we'll get that one for you before the game's over, folks. There he is. There's the Griffin, and I still don't know what he is.
Loss of 5 on that play. Morrissey flings it downfield. There's Henning. Knocked away from A.J. Henning. What a great defensive play by Hugh Kelly. A.J. Henning, the sophomore, and Rob Zavoner, the head coach for East, says that Henning is as good a sophomore skill player as anybody in the state.
Yeah, and not only a great play on the secondary, but it's a great play by Henning, who sees the ball underthrown and cuts underneath the defensive back and almost gets it. And as you say, Dave, this is just an appetizer. This kid's a sophomore. He's going to be on the Illinois high school scene making big plays for the next couple of years.
For A.J. Henning, he was 3rd place in the 100-meter sprint last spring in a state track meet. East has run 8 plays. They have gained a net of 6 yards. You need 15 for a first down here. Morrissey, remember, he can run it, but he is chased down by Armani Dixon.
I'll tell you what, it may not be much. He gains a yard. They're going to punt again, but he just avoided about a 12-yard sack because somebody came flying out of his linebacker position, and I thought he was dead to rights. And by the way, Brendan Morrissey is limping badly. He is trying not to show it, but he dinged up. I want to say it might be the right leg or ankle, but he was clearly into some distress trying to get off the football field.
Actually, Tim noted in the pregame that last week against Maine South, he noticed that Morrissey was struggling a little bit. He may have aggravated it here. Good job by Jobin to pick up that ball, get the punt off, and put it inside the 10-yard line.
Ooh, I'd rather be lucky than good, Dave. What a bounce they got on that. That was a short-looking punt that added 20 yards on the roll.
45 yards total on the kick. It all adds up to the average, which is up over 40 yards for Jobin. And we just continue to trade some punts.
Yeah, we're going to get one more play in a back-and-forth first period with 2 seconds on the clock. And buried at their own 6-yard line. I wouldn't expect Loyola to get too creative with this one.
And 4 receivers to the right of Quinn Boyle. Looking for something big. Off the pads of Noah Jones. It was right there.
That cannot happen, Dave. You've had no offense all through the first period. Quinn Boyle dropped that ball on the number. It just hit him in the hands. I mean, I don't know what he was looking at. You've got to make that catch, son.
That closes out our first quarter. It's all about the defense here at Husky Stadium, Lincoln Way East. Loyola Academy battling for the 8A state championship in 2017. How appropriate, John Holisek, one of the great defensive players in this state and in the NFL, watching a defensive game. His quarterback, though, Quinn Boyle, 7 of 10 for 45 yards. Holisek's defense, though, is not allowed a Lincoln Way East first down. Jones will get that catch, and he will get the first down.
And he needed that one, Dave, because he dropped 2 easy throws. One of them could have been a game changer on that last play of the first period. Had a rough first period. How good has Holisek's Loyola defense be? The longest play in the first quarter for Lincoln Way East is a 7-yard run from Ryan Sienna.
Wow. Noah Jones gets the Ramblers out of some tough territory. Hamid Bully head down straight up the middle. John Holisek said he just needs another year and he's going to be a special college player. Set back with that ACL injury last year. He missed the state championship game last season.
It's like so many high school players. 5'11", 190. He's got the frame to put about 12, 14 pounds on. At 205, he could be a pretty good D1 back if he gets the shot.
A lot of room for Boyle to the 33-yard line. That's what makes Quinn Boyle so dangerous. Completes 63% of his passes, and he rushes for over 800 yards.
Well, and watch him go straight ahead, David. I mean, he'll make a move here and there, but he knows that the shortest distance is a straight line. And when he comes out of that pocket, he is going straight ahead. He doesn't make a move until he has to. He gets every inch out of every run he takes every time he does come out of the pocket.
This drive started inside the 10-yard line. Trouble in the backfield. He never saw the opening. Good footwork by Boyle, but better footwork by that Lincoln Way defensive line. A loss of 4. You know, that's one thing about that defensive line for East. You get a look there, number 92. That's Dylan Shelton. Rob Svonar says, you know, O'Rourke, Shelton, Rivetto, and Hatch have been so good that it's freed up the linebackers to not have to pressure in the backfield. James Joyce. He takes a hit.
Ball comes out.
And a flag is out now also. It will be Lincoln Way East ball, but let's check out the flag.
It's in the area of offensive holding most often. I'm not trying to speculate here, but I got a hunch Lincoln Way is going to keep this one.
Holding. 88 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Results in a turnover. First down, Lincoln Way East.
It's Dugan Bolsoni on the fumble recovery after the reception by Joyce.
Dave, I often wonder why commentators say they don't want to speculate while they're speculating, but that's what it was. And again, there is some real sticking going on out there. The ball shouldn't come out. These kids have got to hang on to it, but that was a hard hit that knocked that ball loose.
I believe it was Max Cesario that was the one who knocked it loose. And now with Brendan Morrissey dinged up a little bit, looked like A.J. Henning in the Wildcat formation. Let's take a look at that hit. And it is Cesario knocking that ball free.
And this is, as Yogi would say, deja vu all over again, because we sat here last year watching Max Cesario make these kind of hits. He's a big-time player for Loyola, and, you know, definitely the reason that that one came out.
So A.J. Henning in the Wildcat. Looking for the hole that is not there. Well, we saw Brendan Morrissey leave limping. He was limping last week, aggravated it here tonight. And so plan B is get it to the sophomore, get it into the sophomore's hands immediately.
That backup quarterback Jack Baltz at 6'5", 185. You have to wonder if this is the permanent plan or just something they're trying to take advantage of with the field position.
Looking for 4 yards here on third down. Henning short side of the field. That allows the speedy Loyola defense to close in on him. Peeling himself off the bottom of the pile, number 32, Anthony Rodriguez. Rodriguez moved from outside linebacker last year to the inside backer position this season. Now bring on Dominic Zobin for the field goal attempt. Try to get his team on the board. Zobin this year, 6 of 11 field goals. Sophomore will line this up at the 37-yard line, and a timeout will be called by the Griffins. We'll take a break as well, looking for our first point to this one. We're at the 8:18 mark of the first half of your 8A championship game. Change of plans for Lincoln Way East. They bring Jobin off the field. The offense comes on, and they will look to go for it here on 4th and 4. And just like that, we get some whistles. Morrissey back in, taking that snap. And did Loyola get the timeout? They did just before that ball was snapped. So
timeout, Loyola. That is their first charge timeout.
You know, Dave, you kind of wonder now, Morrissey, unless he was getting retaped, he doesn't appear to be limping at all now. Maybe we're going to see a more steady dose of Henning in that Wildcat. Maybe that's just part of the game plan.
The Illinois Treasury. Do you have unclaimed property? Well, check today at IllinoisTreasurer.gov. The Illinois Treasurer's Office safeguards unclaimed property such as life insurance proceeds, missing paychecks, and forgotten bank deposits. There is $2 billion in unclaimed property. Check if your name is among the thousands who have unclaimed property at IllinoisTreasurer.gov. That's www.IllinoisTreasurer.gov. Well, there's your story within the story, right? How healthy is Brendan Morrissey?
It's just hard to tell. He definitely was having trouble getting off the field after that last possession. Wasn't surprised to see him not come out, you know, on this possession, heading in the Wildcat. But now to not go to Baltz has surprised me. And now here we go again.
Back to Henning. Now move those chess pieces around. A.J. Henning looked like he wanted to throw. He'll dive, and where will they spot it? Good enough. First first down of the night for Lincoln Way East comes with 8 minutes and 12 seconds to play in the first half.
Dave, there are players you see and you say, yeah, he's fast. And then you see a guy and you say, hey, that's rare speed. When he turns the corner, most guys are not going to get that extra yard. He has elite speed for a sophomore in high school.
Now he will split wide right. And he got one more yard than he needed. Morrissey back in. And a massive humanity will drive Siena back.
You know, it's just not something that we talked about much in the week leading up, but it's pretty obvious now at this point that Henning and the Wildcat is going to be a significant part of the game plan tonight. And it probably is a bow to the quality of this Loyola defense, among other things, looking for somebody who can make a play in different ways to do it.
You know, it is great and powerful as these two programs have been over the years. This is the first time Lincoln Way East has ever played Loyola Academy.
That's surprising. It is.
You would think somewhere along the way they would have met in playoffs previously. Morrissey looking deep, has it up, and it's complete. Touchdown! Mason Keenan will bring in his second touchdown reception of the year. This for 25 yards, and Lincoln Way East hits the scoreboard first.
Yeah, that unfortunately is a mistake in coverage. I believe it was Patrick Russell back there, the 6'1" senior. He's got really good coverage. He's got good position, and he falls as he goes for the football, and it was just out in front of him enough. I take it back. It's a physical mistake. I thought it was a mental error, but he lost his footing. If not, he had been in pretty good position to defend that play.
Brendan Morrissey back in. He completes the touchdown pass, his 21st touchdown pass of the year. Jobin's extra point is good. So the Griffins take advantage of the turnover, the fumble recovery by Dugan Bolsoni, and they make it a 7-0 game. It was the Morrissey to Keenan 25-yard touchdown pass that gets Lincoln Way on the scoreboard, but for East, the fourth down run by A.J. Henning so crucial. And as you said, not many people could have turned the corner. He got one extra yard that he needed, kept the drive alive, and led to the score.
Yeah, I mean, and again, these teams so evenly matched, these defenses so good that it's moments in the game like that, it's plays like that that can be the difference in the eventual outcome. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens now, because Dave, as you detailed a little while ago, Loyola's not all that used to teams playing with them. They've really only, they lost the game early, the first game of the season. They were all banged up. Other than that, they've been challenged once all year by New Trier in the opening round of the playoffs. We'll see now how they respond to playing from behind.
Brendan Morrissey, number 10, the 6-foot senior. Jobin puts his leg into it on the 7-yard line. The return by Kyle McGarvey.
Late flag going into the pile there.
It's going to be on the return, Pat. Dead ball. Personal foul. Late hit, number 38 on the kicking team. 15 yards. First down.
And all of a sudden, the Ramblers will have the ball in attractive territory. Out to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, we always want to remember that these are young men. They're excited. They're juiced up, and things like that can happen. But that's just an inexcusable mistake. It's after the play. There is no reason for it. You've got all the momentum, and that can kind of turn the game. You tag on 15 yards, and suddenly you're out at the 40-yard line.
33-yard difference from where that ball was caught on the kickoff. Not much room for Bully. That was a slow developing handoff, and that allowed that defensive line for Lincoln Way to close down, including number 96, Ben Rivetto.
You know, it's interesting, Dave. You got Devin O'Rourke at 6'6", 250. Next to him, you've got Jaden IHSA at 6', 250. But then Dylan, Shelton and you've got Ben Rivetto. They're just 210 pounds. Linebackers 160, 200, 200. A lot of athleticism around those two big guys.
The chase is on, and there's the interception. Gus Christensen with the pick. Consecutive possessions for Loyola result in back-to-back turnovers.
Then I'm going to guess that Quinn Boyle never saw Gus Christensen because he is not in primary coverage there. He is running underneath the route, and we're going to see here now Boyle's going to roll hard to his right. I thought he had an open receiver downfield. He underthrew it a little bit, and Christensen is dropping back. Christensen was not in the coverage when Boyle let that ball go. And great story here, by the way, that we got from Coach Ronar about the Christensen brothers. You go back to the 2005 Lincoln Way Championship team, keyed by linebacker brothers Gus and John. I'm sorry, that's Gus and John Christensen on this team. It was Gus and John Olson keyed the 05 championship team at linebacker.
So they're looking for history to repeat with Gus's and John's on that defense. And now the Loyola defense in charge of slamming the door and getting things started nicely. Number 23, Hugh Kelly.
Obviously, your quarterback is responsible when he puts the ball in harm's way. He's got to take care of it. But that was an excellent job by Lincoln Way of disguising that coverage and Christensen coming from underneath. Again, we won't know till after the game, but I'm going to guess that Boyle went to the sideline and said, "Coach, I just didn't see him."
3 seconds to get this snap off. And nearly giving the ball back. Morrissey will have to fall on it. Two good teams. We've seen that today. The temperatures dropped a little bit. We saw some turnovers in our 7A game just before this. That was Batavia, the overtime winner over Lake Zurich. Previous winners today, Phillips in 5A, Prairie Ridge in 6A. Third down and 15. That is thrown behind Keenan. And so East unable to take advantage of the turnover. And it'll be up to Jobin to pin this ball deep.
Now, that's just a bad throw. I'm not sure. As a matter of fact, he threw it between two receivers. I don't know if he overthrew the short guy or threw it behind the deep guy.
He was looking for number 40, Turner Palisard, possibly. And it was Mason Keenan a little bit deeper. Jobin looking for the corner. It'll be inside the 20-yard line and about 15. So that doesn't help your punting average, but it sure helps your team with 4:55 to play in the first half and a 7-0 lead.
It's like a punting practice game. It's the only guys who are working up a sweat right now are the punters. Kind of a funny feel to this game. It's almost like both sides are looking at the guys across the field. They're saying, boy, they're really good. And everybody's waiting for something to happen, and we're waiting for somebody to make something happen.
It'll be up to the Ramblers right now to make it happen offensively. Boyle will get it to Joyce. Nice job working off his blocker. Dives ahead, James Joyce. Came into this game 50 catches, 621 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Went to turn that screen pass inside, saw it was all bottled up, showed great quickness. He stuck a foot in the ground, decided time to go west, and then he got south and headed downfield.
Picked up 12 yards on that completion. Over the middle to Gilroy. It's a quick 7 yards.
Brendan Gallagher that time. Every one of the kids in this Lincoln Way secondary is coming up and sticking people. They are doing some heavy hitting out there tonight.
Quinn Boyle 11 of 15 throwing the ball today, still looking for his first points. Gain of a yard for Tyler Flores. Digging himself off the bottom of the pile there is Dylan Shelton.
Good-looking athlete at 6 foot 210. He's a defensive tackle in high school. Probably projects to a stand-up linebacker at the next level.
Loyola 1 of 4 on third downs. They need a yard here. Straight run from Boyle. That's enough. To the 40-yard line. 3:25 to play here in the first half.
If you did join us in the 7A game, it was 14-0 at this point in the second quarter with Lake Zurich. Desperately needed something. Went down, got the score, changed the momentum for the next 2 periods. Loyola with a chance to do the same thing, even though they would just tie the game.
Off the hands of Booz. A little bit too high for Rory Booz, and that left him pretty exposed for a big hit. Rory Booz was not even projected to be a starter this year. And then some injuries. And he moves up in the depth chart. And all of a sudden starts catching passes, catching touchdown passes. In fact, 10 of his 37 catches coming into this game resulted in touchdowns.
6'1", 160 pounds, and a younger brother in the program, apparently with the exact same body type.
Moving the ball around the field, and Noah Jones able to make that catch. Jones has been suffering from some hamstring problems, been in and out of the lineup. He actually missed last week's game, but during the summer, he just jumped out at John Holisek, and Holisek said he hadn't seen a receiver do more than what Jones did during the summer before those injuries kind of nagged on him here in the fall.
That's 2 catches in a row on 2 targets for him after a couple costly drops in the first period.
And another third down and short. Same as last time, Boyle tries to find a spot. And it will be enough for another first down.
Boyle almost made a bad decision there. When you're 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you got to go straight ahead. Anytime you decide you're going to go wide, you're begging for trouble. He tried to take that outside the tackle and was cut off. Fortunately, he realized in time, was able to get a foot in the ground and go straight ahead and barely get the first.
Loyola playing quickly. That was their 9th first down. Total offense of 123 yards. Yet they have not yet scored here in the first half, which is quickly winding down to 2 minutes. Looking for it all. Coverage by Apia. Jones, the intended receiver, and a flag is down near the line of scrimmage. This flag is down near the 50-yard line. And it will go against the Ramblers, a couple of them.
You know, Dave, Noah Jones looks like a young man. He's just a junior, 6'2", 195, great body type for the position. Looks like he's just learning to play the game. He's not a natural catcher out there yet. That was one where if he runs through the ball.
Ineligible receiver downfield against the offense. That penalty's declined. Holding on the offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty, first down.
If Jones runs through the ball on that, he's definitely got a chance at the reception. Instead, he tries to make that one-handed catch that just rarely is going to work. And, you know, we've talked about the underclassmen playing for John Holisek, but that was his 2 seniors on the offensive line. It was his center, Ryan Hagedorn, who got the ineligible, and then Joshua Grant actually gets the holding call.
That was the first penalty against the Ramblers tonight. Little pump and go for Boyle. Up in the air, free ball, and there's Jones.
He got away with one there.
He was right there with Mike Manning.
And he gave Mike Manning a little push, a 2-handed push, but he got away with it. It's only a penalty when the yellow laundry comes out. There's the push, and there's the catch.
30 yards on that completion, takes it inside the 25-yard line with 1:45 in the first half. Loyola driving for a potential tying score. The short man is Flores. He's inside the 10. It will be first and goal from there. Tyler Flores, 5'10" sophomore. And a timeout will be taken to slow down this Loyola Academy offense that is taking the ball from the 7-yard line on the kickoff, an 18-yard return, a 15-yard penalty, and then some first downs along the way.
You know, Dave, I don't think John Holosek needs me to sing his praises. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's in the state championship game for the 5th time. He's already got 1 title. He's won 132 games. He wins about 85% of his games. But you look at the job they've done this year, and we talked about the injuries. So now you've got a sophomore in Flores. You've got a junior in Booz. You've got these 3 underclassmen on the offensive line. Some of it is testament to the great talent that they get to work with at Loyola. But it takes some pretty good coaching to have all those injuries and all these underclassmen and still be here contending for a state title in the championship game.
Well, here's part of that, too, because as folks that follow Loyola Academy know, it's always a senior-dominated team. And so for some people, you can say, oh, that's seniors, and let the juniors have their year. But you coach up those juniors and those sophomores during the course of the season, even if they're not going to be on the field regularly for you.
And here's something else we can say about Holosek. And by the way, Rob Zonar, great coaching on both sides. Lincoln Way East has got their title in the bank, too. But I know for a fact that Holosek's name was getting kicked around before Lovie Smith got that Illinois job. There's other jobs. There's been other chances. And John told us, we've talked to him about this. He likes where he's at. This is where he wants to be.
10th play of the drive comes inside the 10-yard line of Lincoln Way East. To the 6. Ramblers with 1 timeout remaining. Check that. 2 timeouts left. Lincoln Way East with 1.
A little strange. I happened to be looking at the game clock when they snapped that ball, and the clock didn't start until he hit the ground. They got a 5-second bonus on that one. It was stayed at 1:26 for about 5 seconds.
End zone. Jones broken up. Nicely done by Dugan Bolsoni. He had a fumble recovery earlier. Jones was open for a moment.
It's kind of a classic fade pattern. You see it a lot in the NFL. You see it in big-time college football. When you've got a bigger wide receiver with a size advantage, and you've got Jones about a 4-inch advantage on Dugan Bolsoni, you put it up, you let him try and go up and get the football. But Bolsoni had such great position. Again, a lot of hand fighting there. Bolsoni had a better chance at that ball than Jones did.
3rd down and goal. Off the hands of Jones. Right there again was Bolsoni. Noah Jones become a favorite target tonight of Boyle, and now it's 4th down and goal from the 6.
Yeah, this kid's going to be a great player. He's just not yet, Dave. That you got to catch that football. I mean, that one, it's a fastball, but it hit him right in the hands, and that's what he's on the field to do. He was open, and you know, it's hurting Loyola right now. There's been a few big plays there that they haven't been able to make.
Ramblers looking for 3 points, get something out of this drive. Ed Hours on. He has converted 4 of 6, but he will get a chance after this timeout.
I think he's going to get an extra 5 yards. I think somebody might have jumped on the Loyola line.
Dead ball. False start. Number 76 on the offense. Still 4th down.
So back it up 5.
I don't know that he wants an extra 5 yards, but he's going to get it.
Check that. That is Nate Van Zelst, 5'11" freshman. His kick is no good. It was a wobbler. Didn't look good when it left his foot. The long drive comes to an end. And with 51 seconds to play in the first half, the Griffins hold that 7-0 lead.
Yeah, that was a strange looking attempt. It never really got off his foot. It also was almost blocked by someone coming really fast around that left end.
So encouragement on that Loyola Academy sideline. 12 plays, 4 minutes and 55 seconds came off the clock before this miss.
Yeah, he just never got that ball up. It didn't get up high enough. Snap not terrible. Got it down. I wonder if he saw out of the corner of his eyes those guys coming at him.
They were flying around the corner. This was a team that blocked a punt against
Dead
Maine
ball.
South.
False start. Number 52 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
In fact, it was a blocked field goal that opened up the scoring in the semifinal game for East against Maine South. Resulted in a field goal return for a touchdown. Blocked field goal for a touchdown just 68 seconds into that game. Safe play here in the final minute of play in the first half.
And when you look at the way this game has gone in the first half, I think that Lincoln Way is going to be more than happy to take their 7-0 lead to the locker room.
Well, we were into the second quarter before the Griffins picked up their first down. In fact, how about Lincoln Way East? 47 yards of offense in the first half, yet they lead at 7-0. Loyola has put 177 yards of offense in the book.
Those turnovers will kill you every time.
It was that one turnover, the fumble recovery by Dugan Balsoni, that led to the only touchdown of this game, a 25-yard pass from Morrissey to Keenan. And with that, our first half comes to a close. We thought we'd see a low-scoring ball game, as we said. Lincoln Way East had 8 games this year out of their 13 where they allowed a touchdown or less. Loyola had 9 games allowing a touchdown or less. So the Griffins will head into their locker room under the west stands here at Husky Stadium, and Loyola Academy will head off to another portion of this facility with a 7-0 difference here as we continue to have these tight ball games throughout these playoffs here in 2017. Let's go to Sierra Santos along with Rob Zavonar.
Really strong defensive effort, especially that last stop. What did you like about what you guys did?
Well, we hung in there. You know, they're moving the ball pretty well, and we got tougher in the red zone there, so that was a big stop. But there's a lot of football left. They're awfully explosive on offense, and we just got to hang in there. Hopefully we can chew some clock up and move the ball ourselves a little better in the second half.
It looks like Brendan Morrissey may not be at full strength. How's he doing?
It doesn't matter. He's a warrior, and this is his last game in high school, a state championship team. So there's no worry about that. He'll go out there and give everything he's got.
What adjustments do you have to make to get some more points on the board?
Well, we just got to, hopefully execute what we work on all week and make some adjustments at halftime, and then hopefully keep hanging in there on defense. But it's a heck of a football team on the other side.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. We'll let you go, and we'll have halftime analysis and stats after the break. Welcome back to the IHSA Football Championships on NBC Sports Chicago Plus. We are dead smack in the middle of our 8A title game where Lincoln Way East leads Loyola 7-0. And boy, Edgy, points are coming at a premium. Even though the game is moving along, not a whole lot of offense.
No, not at all. Kind of what we thought going in, quite honestly. And again, just not a whole lot of offense. We mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast about Brendan Morrissey maybe being dinged up, and as you can tell, he's been fighting through injury for a while here, and really just takes away a lot from the Lincoln Way East offense. That combined with a very good, obviously a very good Loyola defense.
And talking about Lincoln Way East defense, they really held down in that last drive of the game. In fact, they've been strong all game long.
Again, just, able to force turnovers, and that's been the difference in the first half. Lincoln Way East able to take advantage of the turnovers. Loyola committing turnovers, they had that opportunity late, just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, Loyola has had opportunities, but they haven't been able to convert anything into points.
And that's great defense. Obviously shutting down when they need to, and that's what East has been able to do. So again, I don't expect a whole lot of different here in the second half, Sierra. I really don't. I think, one turnover, could really just decide this game. I wouldn't be stunned to see this a 7-0 final. I really wouldn't. So again, a lot to look forward to here in the second half.
Just one score in this game. It was Mason Keenan who took it to the house. Now, you talked about if Morrissey is not healthy. if he's not 100%. It's going to be a tough game for them, especially on the ground. But his coach says, you know, he's feeling okay. He's a warrior. He's going to keep on battling.
Well, and he's got you here. He's the leading rusher for Lincoln Way East. He's been a huge part of your offense. And you're going to ride with your senior as long as your senior is healthy enough to get it done. And again, being able to convert on that turnover and get this touchdown throw, it's been huge. And I could see something very similar happening in the second half for either Loyola or Lincoln Way East.
Okay, we have a 7-0 score right now. What are the chances that that's it? Because these defenses are so stingy right now, nothing's getting through.
You know, there's a really good chance it could happen, but then on the flip side, these defenses are so good, I could see the defense putting up maybe more points than the offense in the second half. That very well could happen as well.
Yeah, turnovers seem to be the story of the game, and it's going to seem to be the way anyone can take advantage and score some points. We'll be back with first half statistics. 7-0 Lincoln Way East. We are at the midway point of our 8A state title game where Lincoln Way East has held Loyola scoreless. They currently have a 7-0 advantage, and we talked about Lincoln Way East quarterback Brendan Morrissey. He uses his legs a lot. He's got kind of a weird throw, his coach even said it, but he said he's also the strongest, fastest player on the team, so they're really going to need him to step up if they want to score some points, or like you said, if they want to do anything else, they might need the defense to come up with a turnover and a pick six. Let's take a look at some of the first half stats. Look at the passing yards for Loyola Academy right there.
Again, Quinn Boyle being able to get the offense moving. That hasn't been a question, but again, the turnovers have absolutely frustrated John Holosek and Loyola. And again, they also controlled time of possession, but as we mentioned, that 2 versus 0 in a turnover column, absolutely huge.
You know, what's interesting to me about that, too, is you look at those stats, yet Lincoln Way East is the team that's leading.
Yeah,
so you got 143 yards on the ground, but it hasn't made a difference because it's just been a one-score game. It's going to be tough for either of these guys to get anything on the board.
Again, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, it's truly 2 top defenses. I thought all season long the 2 best defenses in Illinois.
All right, so if you are Lincoln Way East, what adjustments do you make for the second half?
Well, you've got to find a way to generate some offense here, whether it's keeping Brendan Morrissey in the pocket, maybe bringing in A.J. Herring a little bit as a wildcat, try to mix things up, but it has to, you have to generate some more offense here.
And as for Loyola, how do you break through?
Hold on to the ball. Keep doing what you're doing offensively. Your defense, quite honestly, I don't think you can ask your defense to play much better than they have. Go, stay the course, hang in there, and hopefully you continue to play hard. You'll get your breaks in the second half.
And they have come up short on some really golden opportunities, so we're going to have to see if they make those adjustments. In the second half, we'll be back and with the second half kickoff in just a little bit.
Back at Husky Stadium, Dave Bernhardt along with Hub Arkush. You saw the highlights. A lot of action, not a lot of scoring. 7-0 Lincoln Way East here in your 8A championship ball game. And Hub, the thought struck me, if I just walked into the stadium and somebody handed me a stat sheet, but they didn't have the score there at the bottom, and they would ask me to predict the score, I think it's quite obvious which direction I would have to go.
Well, and you look at the numbers that jump out at you. Obviously, the difference is Tim and Sierra just talked about the 2 Loyola turnovers, but the 143 passing yards against just 30 for Lincoln Way. 0 for 5 on third down conversions. In fact, in the first half, Loyola ran 38 plays to Lincoln Way's 20. Loyola 11 first downs, just 2 for Lincoln Way, none in the first period. 0 for 5 on third down. You know, you've got Loyola at least 3 of 7. And then you look at fourth down, the one play. We talked about it at the time. You talk about a 4-yard run that could be the difference in the football game. You get Henning converts that first down after the takeaway. They go in, they score their lone touchdown. You got a 7-0 game. And as much as Loyola is more impressive on the stat sheet, Dave, they didn't really do anything in the first half either to suggest to us that there's an offensive breakthrough coming.
That Lincoln Way defense, so very tough. They have been tough all year, and as Edgy was mentioning as well, John Holisek making his way over. We'll hear from him in just a bit with Sierra. But as Edgy said, for Loyola, you need to stay the course, meaning, okay, listen, we're moving the ball. We just need to put it into the end zone. Let's go down to Sierra. She is with John Holisek.
Great defense from both teams. What was your message in the locker room at halftime?
Just trying to clean up the things on offense, hoping they stop pushing and trying to do too much, because we moved the ball a little bit. We just made a couple big mistakes, giving the ball up to an interception and a fumble. So just don't do too much. Just keep doing what we're doing. They're a great team. They're a great defense. So we knew we had our hands full.
What's the answer on how to break through that Lincoln Way East defense?
Some drops definitely hurt us, but just doing what our thing and just executing in all phases.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll let you get back to it. Guys, let's send it back up to you in the booth.
Well, Dave, I don't want to pick on a high school kid. I mean, you got to remember what we're doing here. But you could see the frustration from John Holisek there. He's talking about Noah Jones, who's going to be a great football player someday and has made some nice plays today. But he's literally got 4 drops that if he gets half of them, I think they're winning 14-7. And, so the young man, he's a junior. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He's very impressive out there on the football field. He's got to get control of where he's at. He's got to make a couple plays for him. I think it's likely that's where the difference will come from if Loyola does break through. Jones is beating him left and right. He's available. He's got to make some plays.
And even with those drops, he's caught 5 balls for 76 yards, part of the 14 completions from Quinn Boyle.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for difference makers out here. I think Hamid Bully, if he was healthy, probably would, but you can tell maybe he's 80%, maybe he's 90%. Now, you've got A.J. Henning, the sophomore for Lincoln Ways. He's made a difference on one play, but because Loyola's run defense is so good, he's having a hard time making an impact, too. The one guy who is available out there on either side is Noah Jones, so we'll see if maybe he's the player who can make a difference in the second half.
Lincoln Way East, the winners of the state title in 2005. Loyola picked one up in 1993, then won a couple of years ago in 2015, finished second 3 times, and third straight trip to this championship game for the Ramblers. They find themselves trailing here as we head to the second half, and Lincoln Way East, they had won the toss, they deferred, and they will get the ball first.
Someone's got to tell that Lincoln Way kid, the body paint's impressive, but put a shirt on, you're making me cold.
Ed Howard to do the kicking off here. The 1 field goal attempt, a miss late in the first half, and that's why we sit at a 7-0 game. So I don't know. I mean, you don't think that paint is thick enough to?
It's a good look, but I don't want to see him taking him out of here with hypothermia. I mean, it's not. You're right. It's not a good look. What am I saying? I'm trying to defend him.
And we're underway here in the second half. And the Griffins will start from about their 23-yard line. On the return for East, it was Mike Manning. And a late flag, very late flag coming out. And this could go against the Griffins here, as there seemed to be a little bit extra talking after that collision on the kickoff. As it is, the ball came to the 23.
Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 34, the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that is not the way you want to start a second half when your offense has struggled in the first half.
Yeah, and again, we don't want to be calling high school players out, but that's Mason Keenan, and when the official is staring daggers at you, you obviously said something you shouldn't have. You got to be more careful.
And there are the drives. 3, 3, 3, 3, and then that touchdown drive of 6 plays and 36 yards. A tough spot for the Griffins here. There's that run defense. And the first man in there for Loyola, number 32, is Anthony Rodriguez. Number 40, Christopher Scott. On the carry, it was Ryan Siana, and he's come up a little bit gimpy again.
He's dragging that left shoulder. That's got all the look of a stinger. Hopefully nothing worse, but clearly something going on with that left shoulder or left arm.
Yeah, he's been in and out of the lineup here tonight. So that will bring Jordan Corbett into the backfield along with Brendan Morrissey. Morrissey lucky to get rid of that one, and now room. Catch and run for Turner Palisard. Turner Palisard dad is the coordinator, Joel Palisard, and Joel Palisard and Rob Zvoner have coached together for 20 years. They are best buddies. And it's Turner making a mark here in the championship game.
And that's a really nice move. That's where you see a naturally trained receiver who knows his first instinct with the ball has to be to turn and go. Young man's going to be playing some football at Iowa, which is becoming kind of a tight end factory these days.
And that pocket closed down right now in the form of Anthony Rodriguez. You can see the mobility for Brendan Morrissey is not there. And he is gutting it out. 2nd and 17 after that loss of 7.
Yeah, now you can see him limping again. And you know, Coach Warner said at halftime it's the last game of his high school career. He's going to gut it out. But at what point does it potentially become counterproductive for your football team?
Boy, look at that Loyola defense flying. Morrissey never had a chance.
And that is dangerously close to a lateral as well. It's a good thing that football got out of bounds. Morrissey just gets up, palms to the sky. He was apparently looking. I don't know if he expected his receiver to do something different on that play, but there was clearly some confusion. It may just be frustration with how quickly the pressure is getting to him. He was looking at Jordan Corbett, and Corbett looking back like, you know, I'm not sure what you're looking for. And here we go again.
Remember, Lincoln Way looking for their first down on a 3rd down play. And a pocket collapses again, and Morrissey will go down again. This time it's Armani Dixon. Boy, and here come the Ramblers.
Yeah, Dixon came, it was either on a stunt or a delayed blitz. He came around outside. Might have been running a little bit of a game there with the lineman inside, but it was Dixon coming late who created the pressure. See, he comes around late, and there he is. Now he spots the ball, and he's all over.
Then Marty Gary finished him off, 6'2", 265-pound senior, Chicago Catholic League Defensive Player of the Year. Now Jobin have to punt from his own end zone. And it can't get much better than this for Loyola Academy in terms of field position. Their first drive of the second half will start at the Lincoln Way East 36-yard line. Now we just saw Lincoln Way East's drive chart from the first half. Loyola Academy's in the first half, bigger numbers, including that final drive that ended in a missed field goal that lasted over 4 minutes and 13 plays.
Yeah, I actually ended up with literally half their offense in the game on that final drive the last time they touched the ball. We'll see if that momentum can carry through halftime.
This is where Boyle is dangerous. And no, Bruce could not come up with it.
I seem to think he did. I thought he did. I guess not. Ball must have come out at the last minute.
Get a look at it right here.
I think what we're going to see is he may have had to use the ground to help him gain control of the football as he went to the ground. We don't really see anything there. That actually looked like he possessed it. Now we get a better look from the front.
Yep.
Still don't see it. Did you?
I did. And here's Booz again. Final tackle made by Gus Christensen. Gus had an interception in the first half. Lincoln Way East could not capitalize on that one. Pretty important third down here in the early going in the third quarter. Third down and 2. Right here, it's 4 down territory, so you have to figure Loyola is going to have a couple of cracks to get these 2 yards. Flores, more than enough for the first down. Ramblers again continuing to add to their first down total. Right now it is at 12. Quickly left side to Jones. He's ridden out of bounds by Bolsoni.
When he holds it, he's the difference, Dave. That's it. He's got to have himself under control. That was a beautiful timing route. That ball is out before he makes his break. He catches it in his hands. Quick first down, and now in the red zone with a chance to tie this football game up.
Jones' 6th reception of the night gives Loyola Academy the first down at the Lincoln Way East 15-yard line. Corner of the end zone. He's got it. Rory Booz somehow came down with that ball, and Loyola scores on the 15-yard touchdown pass from Boyle to Booz.
That was a beautiful hands catch. He did not take a chance trying to bring it to his body. Got his hands out in front of him, up on the shoulder of the defender, clutched the ball in his hands and brought it to the ground, and now a chance to tie the football game.
Rory Booz getting pounded around there on his own bench. This for the tie. It's a 7-7 ball game, folks. Your 8A championship game, exactly what we thought it would be. Defensive plays, set up great field position, then Boyle and Booz did the rest. 7-7 coming up in the midway portion of the third quarter.
TV timeout on the field.
Rory Booz with his 11th touchdown catch of the season ties this game up, and he's been having a good time since he made that grab in the corner of the end zone. His team has taken advantage of great field position and a 7-7 ball game, and a field position that netted 36 yards in 5 plays, and that is Rory Booz's numbers here tonight for the Ramblers.
It's interesting, Dave. We heard John Holisak tell Sierra at halftime the one thing they'd have to overcome was the drops. They get the ball at the 35. They possess the football. No drops. They're in the end zone quickly. You can really almost see that if Loyola is going to claim this state title, it's going to come down to Quinn Boyle, Noah Jones, and Rory Booz. The problem I'm having is I'm looking at Lincoln Way. How do they answer now? How do they take it back? I'm looking on the offense saying, well, who's it going to be for them? Maybe A.J. Henning. Other than that, we haven't seen it. And even on Henning, just the 1 4-yard run is all we've seen.
Auer will put this ball into play. Keenan settles underneath it at the 9-yard line. And all from nowhere comes Sam Schlerla. He just came flying down the floor to meet Mason Keenan. Your Country Financial Game Break features all of our state champions. Congratulations to Lena Winslow, Gibson City, Melvin Sibley, IC Catholic Prep, and Rochester, the last two 3A, 4A defending state champs, and they did defend their crown. And earlier today, Phillips with the win, Prairie Ridge, a nail-biter down to the end, and Batavia knocking off Lake Zurich in overtime. And we still have one more state champion to fill in that picture.
Prairie Ridge, I believe, defending their crown as well.
They did. We've had 3 champions defend. That hole was not big enough, nor could Morrissey get through. Number 55, Jordan King. King's another player. He missed 4 or 5 weeks this year. You see the factor he's had here.
Dave, Jack Baltz is a 6'5", 185-pound junior, the backup quarterback for Lincoln Way. Again, Rob Brown's better at this than me, but I'd like to see him for one series, one possession, just see what happens, because you can just tell how limited Brendan Morrissey is out there. Now, maybe he's earned the right to do this. I understand that, but it just, there's not much happening for this offense right now.
Well, Morrissey's running ability has really set up the offense through the course of the season. There he's able to squirt through. And boy, he missed a flying Armani Dixon. Oh, and Dixon knew he had him zeroed in.
Yeah, I knew about Geary. We knew about Charles Largay coming in. Hugh Kelly, a kid. Jacob Gonzalez we saw last year. Armani Dixon didn't see as much of him. He is an impressive young man, and he's got another year here playing on this defense.
There's Jack Baltz. Looks like he's getting warmed a little bit. But another third down and 4. A little bit of time. And then not.
That one's not Morrissey's fault. He didn't feel the pressure coming from behind him. That pocket collapsed on him. Couldn't get the ball out before his arm got grabbed by the rusher.
Well, you felt this late in the first half, this tide kind of turning one way. And here in the first 6 minutes of the second half, it has really swung to the Loyola side. Again, the Ramblers figure to get decent field position out of this punt.
They may have just gotten the first down instead.
They did.
Yeah.
You saw the punt team for East all snap up simultaneously, and that drew a man into the neutral zone.
Dead ball, encroachment, number 57 on a defense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That's one way to get your first down of the half.
How about that?
And they're 2 for 2 on 4th down now, by the way.
There you go.
Still 0 for on 3rd down, but they're 2 for 2 on 4th down.
Another shot here for the Griffins. Motion from Keenan. Palisard takes a hit and just stays standing. That's the value here of Turner Palisard. You can find him in just about any part of the field. You know, he could be a fullback for you. He could be a tight end, wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, that's Jacob Gonzalez, who's one of the biggest hitters on the field, but he got the worst of that one. He tried to deliver the blow, and he took a blow.
That's the third catch for Palisard.
And actually, I apologize, Gonzalez was the second man, and that was Patrick Russell who absorbed that blow.
And now we have a flag tossed. I think we may have an illegal substitution here against East. Well, now there's a little bit extra discussion. Did he get in? Did he get out?
He threw the flag,
Looks like
right?
the official kind of chewing out the line judge, doesn't it?
Disregard the flag.
Yeah.
Still second down.
He's in charge, I'll say that for him.
The referee tonight, Tom Hugg. Of course, the crews that make it here to the state finals, all part of officiating crews during the course of the year. It isn't a pick and choose and mix and match. They're all part of the same crew.
And let's give credit where it's due. Tom Hugg did a nice job on that. He went over, he said, no, that wasn't illegal. Picked up the flag, and let's play on.
A.J. Henning, nothing doing as soon as Loyola saw Henning back there. Here they came, Geary, Dixon, Rodriguez.
Dave, here's the problem with that concept. The offensive line for Lincoln Way is not winning any battles up front. When Loyola sees A.J. Henning back there, there's only one thing that's going to happen, and they know what it is. So, you know, while this might be a nice concept in a different situation for this moment, I don't think it's going to work.
And Henning will split out. Loyola now with 6 tackles for loss tonight. And that would have had some room to run for Shane Pedersen. But And watch that pocket, and all of a sudden, the black jerseys that are forming the pocket become white jerseys that have overtaken it.
And Dave, I want to be as clear as I can. I am not picking on Brendan Morrissey. This kid's showing rare courage. I think you're asking him to do something he doesn't appear able to do right now.
No real pressure on Jobin. Oh, and he hits a beauty. Look at this one. Drives McGarvey back.
Don't.
Oh, he did. He did.
It's okay if he falls on it. I thought he was going to try and pick it up and run with it. You can fall on it, son, but don't try and pick it up and run with it.
57-yard punt. Loyola will start from their 15 when we come back.
The 2017 IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simplesteps.
Well, you got to do something to keep yourself warm, and look at that steam coming off of the hot cocoa. Settle in. You still have a quarter and a half to watch here in the 8-8 championship game. Touchdown apiece. Mason Keenan caught a 25-yard touchdown pass from Morrissey. 7:23 mark of the second quarter, and then the Booz-Boyle combination connected for Loyola a couple of minutes ago. And speaking of connections, there it is to Charlie Gilroy.
This wasn't a high school football game on a cold night. The Booz-Boyle connection would have an interesting connotation to it.
They have a whole different sound to it, yes. Actually, same sound, different concept. Boyle. He was stopped in front, then hit from behind, chased from behind by Ben Rivetto. And that will be a loss.
Boy, he's going to come like he's shot out of a cannon once he realizes what's happening. Really nice angle to the ball. Excellent job. Then they clean it up. Big play for them to slow this Loyola offense.
It was Declan Clark that pretty much turned Boyle around and led to that loss of 9 yards. Third and long here for Loyola. Ben Rivetto, a senior, with that last TFL. Big play here. Connection made, and it should be enough for a first down right there to Noah Jones, and there's a tough catch in traffic.
Big time catch on a perfect throw in traffic, and there you see what happens when what should be your top receiver makes the plays you know he can make.
Boy, there was one man low. That was Gus Christensen. Another right there behind Mr. Jones for his 7th catch of the night. And that moves the chains, the first down to the 25. Now Boyle has it going, finds Booz again.
Yeah, I think at this point you work Boyle and Boyle should work Booz and Jones right down the field. Maybe you mix in a run here and there just to keep them honest. But at the end of the day, Loyola has now identified what they can do to win this football game. Unfortunately, Lincoln Way hasn't found that answer yet.
A couple of good-sized targets. Jones at 6'2", Booz at 6'1". Different look that time for Boyle. A little option opportunity there with Flores on the outside, but instead number 47, Declan Carr. His brother Pat now playing at Drake University. Carr is senior here in the defensive unit for Lincoln Way East. Came in averaging, allowing only 9 points per game. Less than a yard to go here on third down. Looking for more than just a yard, and they'll have it. Matt Joyce, or check that, James Joyce, down the middle of the field.
pretty throw by Quinn Boyle. You just said it, Dave. I think he's starting to feel it a little bit now. He's got himself some rhythm. Couldn't get any rhythm throughout the first half, but now he's got receivers. They're not big openings. They've got a step or two, but he's dropping the ball right in where he needs to.
24 yards on that completion. Boyle 7 of 8 in the air here in the third quarter. On the ground, he'll go backwards. Dylan Shelton on the stop.
You know what that was, Dave? I mean, as much as Loyola is starting to move the football, this is still a great Lincoln Way defense, and their front is playing really well. You know, Boyle normally, what's he averaging on the season? 5 yards a pop, and he is struggling when he does try and take the ball inside.
And he's staying with those 4 down linemen. They do not bring their linebackers. Quickly, Flores inside the 35.
That's kind of a message to the rest of the state, or at least the rest of the 8A schools. Not only are we here, but our senior who's going to go on and play college football isn't quite right, so we found a sophomore we're going to do.
You know, and this is actually the second sophomore that Loyola has found in the playoffs. Trevor Cabanban had nearly a 200-yard game against Marist until he left with a sprained ankle. 9th play of the drive coming up from inside the 35-yard line. Again, a 3rd down and short. Boyle connected on a 3rd and long earlier in this drive. Flores out of the backfield, can't handle it. Now we're seeing a 4th down. Coverage on the play to Mike Manning, number 9.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if this was the NFL or big-time college football, you'd talk about the alligator arms, because that's clearly what that was. He short-armed it. He sees the defender coming. But in all fairness, Boyle cannot put him in that position. He set him up to get decapitated, and if he doesn't miss the ball, he gets his head taken off. So kind of understand what happened on that one.
Loyola 0 for 1 on 4th downs. They're facing one here. Looking for more than just a yard. Booz tightly covered. He was looking for a flag. Manning was right there with him, and there is a flag behind the line of scrimmage. Not downfield. Well, there actually is one sitting there on the sideline too.
I don't love that call, I'll tell you that. I mean,
There's 2 flags on the play. First one on the sideline we'll be disregarding. We have holding on the offense, number 76. That penalty is declined. It'll be 1st down, Lincoln Way East.
all right, Tom, we needed a little better explanation. Why are you disregarding the one? I mean, I assume they were both on Loyola, but I'd like to know what the one on the sideline was.
Well, here is the story of this game, right? Loyola marches the ball down the field, stacks the yardage up in the stat sheet, and yet Lincoln Way East defense stops when they needed to.
You've got 4th and 4. You're on a really nice drive. I understand, you know, why you're not going to punt the football, and there's the hold, I guess, is pretty obvious. Again, I'd love to see what happened on the sideline. You see the official dropping the flag there. But I think Loyola needed to give themselves a chance to extend that drive and get the lead.
East looking for their 5th first down tonight. 2 of them, 2 of the 4, have come on 4th down. One on a run by A.J. Henning, the other by way of penalty. Total yardage difference right now, get this, 227 yards, or 264 yards for Loyola, just 52 for Lincoln Way East, and yet we are tied. Here's A.J. Henning. They stretch him out. He turns the corner. Henning. Nobody's going to catch the state track 3rd place finisher. He's gone. 63 yards and a score, and Lincoln Way East, one big play for the lead. Wow.
Well, Dave, we said it. I mean, we knew he was pretty much the only thing that they had working for him. He had made one play early, and now he makes that one, and I'm sure we're going to get a chance to take another look at that when we do. We're going to show you, you've heard the expression, if he's even, he's leaving. He's even there, and now he's leaving. And there is nobody going to catch him. That's that elite sprinter speed we talked about.
Last year as a freshman, 3rd in the state in the 100-meter dash. This was worth 63 yards. And now trouble on the extra point. Matt Judd. And that could be huge.
Yeah, that was clearly not designed, Dave. He had trouble. He got the snap clean, but he couldn't get the ball down. That was clearly not what Lincoln Way wanted to do, because as you just pointed out, now it's more than a one-score game. A touchdown and an extra point turns it into a win. Yeah, let's take another look at that, because you see, not the kick, but this. At this point, Henning's boxed in, but now look, he gets that break. Now he's even with the two defenders, but there's no way that they're catching him. One of them was Armani Dixon, but he doesn't have that kind of speed at 6'3", 220. He was not going to catch A.J. Henning.
54 yards prior to that snap of the ball in offense for East. This is worth 63. And that was the straightaway at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston for the 100-meter sprint. And A.J. Henning, his sophomore, has put his team on top.
By the way, I like that one more than paper. If he's even, he's leaving.
On the jumbo, they had your endurance handshake. It looked raw. It was cold. That's what we do, AJ. Cross time, baby. Cross time.
So if you're Loyola, you truly have to regroup right now. You marched, you drove, you got your 10, 12 yards at a time, and then all of a sudden on downs and penalty, you give the ball up, one play, you're trailing.
So much of this about momentum, and again, if this is the way it ends, not only that big play, but we will revisit the decision on 4th and 4 to try and throw the ball down the field 30 yards.
And a high chip. And a fair catch will be called.
And, you know, actually, Dave, I should point out, that was the end result. We don't know that that was Quinn Boyle's primary receiver. I mean, maybe there was something he was supposed to look for underneath. It could have been a decision by your young quarterback. I didn't see anything else. He was rolling that way. It looked like that was the called play. And if it was, they're going to have to try and make up for it now.
Just 22 seconds to play here in the third quarter. We've had a touchdown each way. And a missed extra point opportunity. You have to get this offense on the field in a hurry. The play clock is already down to 8 seconds. Time. Complete. Booze. First down, Loyola. Just like that. The 42-yard line. 17 yards. Boyle. Deep down the middle, looking for Booz. Manning right on top of Rory Booz, to the point that Booz thought he may have been interfered with, but we have completed 3 quarters of play here at Husky Stadium. Touchdown pass to Booz. That tied the ball game at 7. Loyola fans thrilled, but A.J. Henning turns it the other way. We go to the 4th. 13-7 lead for East over Loyola. Joyce. He takes a hit.
Ball comes out.
And it will be Lincoln Way East ball. Morrissey looking deep. Has it up, and it's complete. Touchdown! Mason Keenan will bring in his 2nd touchdown reception of the year. 5'11" freshman. His kick is no good. It was a wobbler. Didn't look good when it left his foot. The long drive comes to an end. Corner of the end zone. He's got it. Rory Booz somehow came down with that ball. And Loyola scores on the 15-yard touchdown pass. Lincoln Way East, yet we are tied. Here's A.J. Henning. They stretch him out. He turns the corner. Henning. Nobody's going to catch the state track 3rd place finisher. He's gone. That's how it looks here in Class 8A as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Dave Bernhardt along with Hub Arkish. Quinn Boyle's going to start it for the Ramblers. And it starts with an incomplete pass. In that third quarter, Lincoln Way East had 1 yard of total offense after a 53-yard first half. That 1 yard came before Henning broke it for 63 and the lead.
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, I haven't been here all weekend, but from the moment I got here, we saw a great second half 6A between Prairie Ridge and Nazareth. We had overtime in our first game, and now as the fourth quarter starts, we're going to the final gun again.
I will go out and say that this has been the best final 8 games in terms of close games, competitive drama down to the last minute that we have ever had in the IHSA Football State Finals. Booze again, and it is a Booze and Jones show. That is where Boyle has been looking, and he has been connecting.
Not sure what, oh, they're just checking the spot, I guess. Just trying to figure out what they were questioning over there.
Whatever it is, John Halasek with a little bit of a grin. He may be, I'm not sure what this is.
They're moving the stick. It's really weird. Halasek's staring at it.
Get kicked up a little bit there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like the chain got stuck. I like this Tommy Hug. He's doing a nice job out there. He is. He's got control of everything.
It's a game earlier where the chains had to be replaced. All right, so they're dealing with the chains. There's a third down and 10, and we're going to get some new chains out there. That's right.
Boy, that's when you know you're running a first-class operation. They got an extra set of chains. We're not going to be delayed here. 11:50 left in the fourth period. This football game is too important. Let's get the new chains out there.
Quinn Boyle, 23 of 35. He has a interception to go along with the touchdown. 253 yards of passing offense tonight. His favorite receivers tonight, Rory Booz, has caught 8 passes for 84 yards. Noah Jones, 7 for 99. He's gone to 5 different players. 15 of those 23 receptions, however, have gone to those turns. On the other side, Brendan Morrissey, 4 of 10. Thrown that 1 touchdown pass. And the one thing you don't see on the stat sheet for Brendan Morrissey is big rushing numbers. And came in, Edgy Tim talked about it prior to the ball game, that Morrissey had been a little dinged up in that Maine South game 1 week ago and then aggravated an injury earlier on.
Yeah, you can see it, Dave. And if they can get this to the finish line with the lead in the state title, it's going to be a remarkable accomplishment with as limited as Morrissey is.
This time it's Gilroy. Charlie Gilroy, the catch, his 4th of the night. And about half of those 10 yards for the first down. Maybe a bit more.
Gilroy following one of the best Illinois high school tight ends of all time, and Jake Marweedy, I think a 2-time All-Stater here at Loyola, and now he comes in as a senior. Great size at 6'5", 225 pounds. We haven't heard much from him this evening until then, though.
Just get the snap off in time. Looking for it all to Jones. There he is. Noah Jones inside the 10, down to the 6. Boyle targeted him all the way and just dropped it into the hands of Noah Jones. His 8th catch of the night.
Lincoln Way East. That is their first warning, and no yardage will be assessed.
So the play will stand. 1st and goal, Loyola.
Lincoln Way East is an outstanding defense with a great secondary, but they cannot cover Noah Jones. He's had his way all night long. The only question has been, will he hold it, will he drop it? Now he's holding it. I don't think he's had a drop in the second half, actually. In all fairness, had a couple in the first half. He did have a drop early in the third quarter, but that's just a beautiful route, a great catch, and now Loyola on the doorstep. And don't forget that missed extra point. This is a chance not to tie the game, but to take the lead.
35 of those 136 yards came on that last play. The Ramblers are in business. There's no room for Flores, though. He's grabbed first by number 92, Dylan Shelton. Second down and goal.
Yeah, that's kind of, to me, a wasted play. You've done nothing on the ground all night long. If you're going to try it, I'd rather see you try it on second or third down when they're less likely to be expecting it. Now you're forced to throw the ball twice and maybe 3 times, because a field goal doesn't do you much good unless you think you're getting back down here.
Here's the throw. The battle won by the Lincoln Way East defense. It was Mike Manning. He's been matched up against Booz all night. He got some help there from Brendan Gallagher.
You got a little help, too, because I think Booz is going to get his hands on this ball. The officials letting these kids play. Look at all that hand contact. Yep, Booz has that ball in his hands, and normally that's one that kid has hung on to, but he could not possess that one to the ground. That's a tough catch, though. I know Holosek talked about drops. That's a drop, but boy, that would have been a great catch if he had made it.
Third down and goal from the 6. Boyle. Couple of yards short. It will be 4th down. 4th and goal for Loyola.
I think you got to go here, and I think you got to move him out of the pocket. You got to sprint him out to the side, give him a couple options, because the middle just has not been opening up enough for him. Boyle, absolutely a threat to get you a 2-yard touchdown on the ground, but I don't think you want to try it in the middle.
4th down and 2. Loyola has not converted a 4th down tonight. Boyle stops, reverses, touchdown.
That's a great play call. It's a little bit of a spin on what I suggested. They were moving him out of the pocket. They knew they didn't want him scrambling from the middle. They started to sprint him out right, but that was a designed cut back left. It opened up wide the way they hoped it would, and now this extra point, a chance to win it. See, there he is, going to go on the move because they know they got to open up the line, but then everybody went with him. That leaves it wide open. They also ran all their receivers out to his right, to the defense's left, and that's why that opened up as wide as it did for him. Great design, great play call by Loyola.
This is Ed Auer now for the extra point. Tough snap, ball up, ball through, Loyola the lead.
Not by much. That one started to leak right, but hung on. And now you've got the narrowest of 1-point leads.
They put the ball in the hands of Quinn Boyle from the 2-yard line on 4th down. 10 guys go right, I'm going left. Loyola on top by 1. Behind that monitor is Quinn Boyle. He just scored on a 2-yard touchdown run on 4th down, and I think back to how this whole weekend got started. That's when Lena Winslow in Class 1A won their ball game 21-20 over Tuscola, when Tuscola unable to convert an extra point. And this is how we are sitting now with 9:12 left in the final game of the weekend.
Well, and you know, we've talked about it throughout the evening, Dave, short of another explosion from A.J. Henning, and they're tough to make happen against this Loyola defense. We're not sure what else you've got working if you're Lincoln Way. And you know, I want to take my hats off to the coaches in this game. Let's get this kick, and then I'll explain what I'm talking about.
Howard to put it in play. And a chance for a return from the 10. Now reversing field is Manning. He started at the 10. He'll get to the 20.
You know, Dave, we've talked a lot tonight about John Holosek, about Rob Zvon, our two outstanding head coaches, but the entire coaching staffs of these two teams, I've questioned some of the play calls, some of the decisions. That's on the coaches. There's been some drop passes, and that's concentration lapses, and you try and coach that, but those are physical errors by the players, mental lapses. These two teams are executing at an extremely high level. We saw the play design and the success of that touchdown run. We've seen the defenses in particular. These are two really well-coached football teams, and that's why you've got a 1-point game with 8:58 remaining.
Griffin's 80 yards away from a go-ahead score of some type. Henning up the middle. Boy, if you're a fan of Loyola Academy, when there is any sliver of pathway, your heart jumps up into your throat.
Just what I alluded to on unlikely it might be for him to do it again. It almost just happened again. I mean, he was one missed grab there away from going again.
The player is down for Lincoln Way East right now. There's A.J. Henning, the sophomore.
Wonder who he was waving at.
10 carries, 63 yards tonight for Henning.
Like you, we cannot make out a number. There we go.
And that's Troy White, one of the guards on the offensive line for East. White, a senior.
5'11", 225, limping pretty badly. It looks like, let's see, he's pounded on the left, so he's limping on that right leg. He was up on his knees on the ground, so that makes you think it might be an ankle. Right.
First down carry for Henning. Around the right side. He gets to the 42. Well, that was very slow developing, but you knew that at some point, if something opened up, he was going to hit those starters blocks and kick it into gear. But just like that, Henning has taken this ball out to the 42-yard line. That was a 9-yard carry.
You know, Dave, maybe it's my imagination, but suddenly he looks like he's got a little hitch in his giddy up. Maybe just a slight, call it a limp, but walking back a little tender there maybe. We'll keep an eye on him.
And again, it's a good block. And then the white shirts come and get him.
Yeah, he didn't read that block properly. He should have kept going around the outside. I don't know that he goes all the way, but he could have gotten that corner turned. I'm looking at him walk right now. That maybe it's just me, David. It just looks like he's slightly off in his gait.
There's a little bit different look to him. .97 yards now for Henning on the ground. You have stoppage in play here with Loyola player down. This is Hugh Kelly. I don't know if Kelly got tied up in that last little tackle of Henning.
Kelly's the strong safety, and I think it actually may have been him who was caught up in that block that I suggested that Henning didn't read properly. And they're clearly working on an ankle or a knee here.
Another low-scoring game, just as we had in 7A. This is how it all went down. First quarter, break that second quarter. Touchdown catch from Mason Keena from Brendan Morrissey, and 7-0 Lincoln Way East lead. And then this game got knotted up in the third quarter. 7:53 left when Booz caught the 15-yard pass from Boyle. 7-7. Here's the biggest play of the night. It was A.J. Henning. Turns the corner 63 yards later. It's a 13-7 Lincoln Way lead. However, the extra point attempt was no good. And Loyola comes back. Fourth down and goal from the 2. Boyle, 2-yard touchdown run. Their kick was good, and that's how Loyola has the 1-point advantage here with 7:35 left. Morrissey down his sideline, and this one's caught. Shane Pedersen with the reception. Perfectly thrown ball by Brendan Morrissey.
This one doesn't require a lot of analysis. He just stands in the pocket. He sees his receiver with a step. He's got that awkward delivery, but he put that ball in a perfect spot. Defensive back might have been looking for the ball instead of hanging on to the receiver. He might have had a chance of breaking that up.
35 yards, and for the first time tonight, with 7:15 to play, Lincoln Way East in the red zone. Short game on first down. Now remember, for Lincoln Way East, Ryan Sienna, the regular starting running back, is banged up a couple of times. They went to Jordan Corbett for a little bit, but now it's the A.J. Henning show. That coming after the pass from Morrissey to Pedersen.
This is where you come into a big game, a sophomore, and you leave the star of the team, Dave. I think they realize he's their best weapon. And no offense to the upperclassmen, but this is the kid that gives you a chance to win.
Morrissey, though, has a little bit of room here. He will get positive yardage inside the 15-yard line. He was stopped there by Nicholas Murphy, number 90. Also at the bottom of the pile, 32, is Anthony Rodriguez. And a 3rd down and 6. Now remember, Lincoln Way East has one of the top placed kickers around, Dominic Zobin. The Griffins 0 for 8 on 3rd downs tonight.
It's hard to win a football game that way. It really is.
We've hit the 6-minute mark here in the 4th quarter. They'll just play it safe. They're going to put this in the hands of their sophomore place kicker.
And you know, Dave, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the Brendan Morrissey that we're used to seeing is a threat to make something out of that play. And tonight it just hasn't happened for him. But that said, you know, if you've got a kid who you trust from 32 yards, it's probably the smart play.
Dominic Zobin, 6 foot 1 inch, 170-pound sophomore. There, his kicking numbers on the season.
And this will tie his long field goal of the year if he makes it.
Judd gets the snap down. The kick is up. And it is through. And Lincoln Way East has taken a 16-14 lead with 5:11 to play in the 8A championship game. It was Zobin who had the game winner in the 2nd round of the playoffs with 1:13 to play to defeat St. Charles East 15-14, and now he's given his team a 16-14 lead.
He didn't bomb it, but he had enough. You know, he got it up there and put it through. It was not exactly what you'd call a thing of beauty, but it was. Hey, it's 3 points. That makes it a thing of beauty.
Look at that offensive line just waiting, and then hands raised. But with 5:11 to play, there's a lot of time left for this Loyola Academy offense.
You know, I find myself struggling to make up my mind because this is a great football game. You know, it's going to go down to the final gun. It's the big one of the day. You've got these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids under all this pressure. Or is it maybe that they're 16, 17, 18, they don't feel all this pressure? Maybe they're just out there having fun.
Kyle McGarvey is deep, awaiting this kickoff from Zobin. The last time he hit it, he just popped it up into the air. This time he'll go deep. And deep enough to force the Ramblers to start from their 20-yard line. 337 yards of offense tonight for Loyola. They have 5:11 to work with. Ramblers finished 2nd last year, runners up to Maine South. Fell 27-17 in that ball game a year earlier. It was a state title for Loyola Academy. Lincoln Way East, their one state championship came in 2005.
Dave, I think everybody who's ever watched a football game is familiar with the 2-minute drill, but this is what we call the 4-minute offense. Not only do you need to get down there and get 3 for the lead, but you don't want to leave any time on the clock. You just saw what Lincoln Way did in a couple minutes. You want to take your time, work down the field, eat that 5 minutes of clock.
A safe pass to James Joyce starts this drive. Each team has all 3 timeouts remaining. 306 passing yards tonight for Boyle. Almost able to squirt through, but Jaden Hotcha was not going to let him go. Enough for a 1st down, however.
Boyle, for the most part, has had plenty of time to throw all night long. We haven't really talked about it, but the pass protection from this Loyola offensive line has really been excellent.
Again, over the middle, across the 40-yard line. Joyce again. 7, 8 yards a pop. Boyle puts the ball on the money. For James Joyce, he reels in his 6th reception of the night. Flooding the left side. There's your 4 receivers. Joyce off his fingertips. Was that a forward pass? It was.
I think it was, yeah.
Stops the clock with 3:57 to play.
It's not a horrible call when you know you've got a makeable 3rd down. You only need a couple yards here. I would guess with 3.5 minutes on the clock, you're going to take 2 cracks at it if you have to. So certainly no time to panic yet here.
That's picked off, intercepted, jumping the route. Max Cesario.
Now it's time to panic. What a great play by Max Cesario. We've talked about these 2 defenses all night long. Some of the focus on Loyola, but Cesario's name has been called a number of times tonight for some of the big hits he's put on that particular play. He read that all the way. Quinn Boyle never looked anywhere else. Cesario actually had the deep coverage in a bracket with 20 in front of him. He read his eyes, jumped in front of that ball. He picked that. He saw that coming all the way. What a great play. And you know what? If he keeps his feet, he's going to the house.
3:52 to play. Only the 2nd turnover of the night for Loyola. Henning gets through, and just like that, Lincoln Way East jumps all over the turnover. They stretch it to a 23-14 lead. 42-yard run.
That was a rare mistake by the Loyola defense. They packed the front. They had about 7 or 8 in the box. But the secondary came up, and I'm not sure what they saw because it was a straight handoff all the way. Henning really needed to just get that one crease in the line of scrimmage, and there was nobody there to chase him.
That 23rd point could come right here. Right now sitting at 22-14. This is a big extra point attempt here, and it makes it a 2-score game. How about that? Loyola moving the ball efficiently. Interception, and then a touchdown run. 1 play, 8 seconds to the house for Henning.
Yeah, I'm not going to call the numbers out because this is a tough moment for Loyola. They've got young men playing football, and they don't need to be called out on television. But you had 2 defensive backs fill the wrong gap on that play. That was a mental mistake. Unfortunately, just after I got done talking about how well coached these teams are, and they are very well coached, mental errors there, a couple guys in the wrong gap, and that's all it takes. Basically, I know it's not over till it's over, but that may be the difference in a state championship.
A game of big plays. Henning has provided a couple of them. Touchdown runs of 63 and 42 yards, but it was the Max Cesario interception that stopped one drive and led to a 7-point score the other way. Will once again start from their 20-yard line.
You know, Dave, maybe this is a nuance of high school football that I'm not familiar with. Are they not allowed to return a kick if they catch it in the end zone?
Nope.
Okay, well, then, you see, I didn't know that rule because they're not putting a knee down. The official's not looking at anybody, and he's stopping the play. And it was puzzling me there for a few minutes.
Lincoln Way East this year played 5 games against teams that won 10 or more games. They won them all coming into this one. They are 3 minutes and 44 seconds away from doing that again, and it would come here in the 8A championship game. There are 3 black jerseys, 1 white jersey there on that incomplete pass from Boyle.
And I'm not saying he can't get it back, but suddenly Quinn Boyle is off. That throw, I'm not even sure. Well, I know who it might have been to. You had Noah Jones out there, but he didn't get it in the same area code as him. That was just a bad throw.
That Lincoln Way East offense, 224 yards. 63 came on one touchdown run, 42 on another. So only a little over 100 yards of offense other than the two big plays, but they all count. Looking for it all. Traffic. And Booz nearly comes away with it. He was battling 4 defenders.
You know, the stunning thing about this game to me, Dave, Lincoln Way's defense is brilliant. I'm not at all surprised that Loyola's only got 14 points on the board. But with the offensive performance we've seen tonight, you just mentioned the 2 big runs, the fact that Lincoln Way has 23 points on the board, you wonder where they came from. Because, I mean, going into the 4th quarter, they had not done anything all night long.
Third down and 10 for Loyola. Boyle, heavy pressure. Down he goes. Devin O'Rourke. He'll pick up the sack.
And you know what? Devin O'Rourke is a great football player who's probably going to have an outstanding college career. But I want to mention, because I meant to do this before and we had the interception and the big play. Charles Gross, the left tackle from Loyola, has had, in many respects, the better of Devin O'Rourke tonight. We saw him there. He's made a few plays. He actually got there a little late after Boyle had to leave the pocket. But for the most part, I think Gross has done a really nice job on O'Rourke. And so hats off to him for a pretty good ball game, even though it appears, unfortunately, it's not going to be in a winning effort.
Pretty much a must punting situation, hoping for some sort of a turnover. And the punt not so good to the 32-yard line. That will bring us to our Wintrust plays of the game. They came on back-to-back plays. Max Cesario, the interception, to stop a Loyola drive. And then one snap later, A.J. Henning, 42 yards. And with that, Lincoln Way East, the 23-14 lead. Span of about 8 seconds.
Yeah, and
turn this around.
It's really a shame for Quinn Boyle, Dave, because the way the game had gone at that point, I thought he was setting himself up to be the hero of the game, and instead that's the play he's going to remember probably for a long, long time, is that pick.
You see A.J. Henning standing next to Brendan Morrissey. Henning with 145 rushing yards tonight. Or Lincoln Way East with 145 yards rushing. Henning with 139 of those, 131 of those coming in the second half. Now they'll put it in the hands of Brendan Morrissey. Just hang on to the ball. Clock running, 2:15. Loyola showing no indication that they wish to stop the clock, trailing by 9.
And you know, Rob Zvonar, man, I mean, you know, for the last hour, I've been wondering why Morrissey's still in the game. He stayed with his guy. They found a way, and hats off to him. He knows his team better than I do.
Henning wraps both arms around that ball, and now the timeout will be called with $1:50 to play in this one. Boy, and how this game turned. You know, just recapping, late in the third quarter, A.J. Henning broke loose for a 63-yard touchdown run. That made it a 14-13 game. Here's that touchdown run of 63 yards. So our Country Financial player of the game, A.J. Henning. This for 63 yards. However, the extra point attempt was no good. And it was a 6-point difference. Quinn Boyle ran it in from 2 yards out, but a field goal in this touchdown run from A.J. Henning, our Country Financial player of the game.
You know, Dave, it's interesting in both of our games, the 7A game and the 8A game, until late in the fourth quarter, 7A, I'm not going to say they were the better team. The better team always wins, but Lake Zurich had made more plays. It looked like they were going to find a way. Here, Loyola was making more plays. It looked like they were going to find a way. It's when you play 60 minutes and you play every down.
Morrissey straight up the middle.
That should do it. That's a first down.
Well, a lot of folks came into this ball game and they said, okay, Loyola has been banged up with injuries. Who will be the person who can make a big play? And in the end, it was sophomore A.J. Henning for Lincoln Way East. 2 big plays to make the big difference. And that run right there by Brendan Morrissey with 1:33 to play. That's the first conversion of a third down play for the Griffins tonight.
You know, and the great thing about this tournament and about doing these games is that we get to celebrate tonight, and we also get to see the future.
Henning, does he get there? How about that? Third touchdown run here by A.J. Henning. And this is a 29-14 game.
And there is the future.
Yep.
Sophomore running back A.J. Henning, who is going to be the story of Illinois high school football for the next couple of years, or at least a big part of the story, I should say.
Holding.
Oh, no, this one's coming back.
Number 82, 10-yard penalty. Will still be first down. The clock will start on the snap.
But I will not disagree that we are seeing
I mean, too bad for the stat sheet, but nonetheless. And on the other side, Noah Jones, Rory Booz. I mean, we're seeing not just great football tonight, but we're seeing next year and maybe the year after. We saw some of that in the other 7 classes as well. That's what makes this tournament so much fun.
So the holding call takes away the touchdown, keeps the difference at 9 points with 1:13 left. Henning dances through a hole again, and he is smothered this time by after a short pickup by Christopher Scott. And Loyola will just let this one run down, it appears. Should take one more snap. Depending on how long the Griffins make this one play last.
Yeah, there isn't a big enough miracle for this one. It looks like what they're going to do, probably call a timeout, let the clock run down, or maybe they'll even take the penalty and then just take a knee.
And a timeout will be called by Lincoln Way East. 32 seconds on the clock. And what a run by Lincoln Way East. They went through one of the most rugged schedules that any team in Illinois has ever had to go through. So we said earlier, 4 of the teams on their regular season schedule, Lincoln Way East gave their only loss. This is the 6th game that Lincoln Way East will have won this year against a team that won 10 or more games, which means you are beating teams that are going deep into the playoffs.
You know, David, there's all kinds of ways to make it that much more impressive. They beat the defending state champ twice. Tonight they beat the team that finished second that won the state championship the year before. I mean, you can't go through a tougher gauntlet than what these guys have done. And in the end, it's fairly convincing. It's not a one-point game. I mean, they're just, I do hope they take a knee here. I'd hate to see them hand it out. They're going to. They're in victory formation. Just a classy move here and just outstanding football game. It's not close at the end, but we thought it was going to be right down to 3 or 4 minutes. And it's fitting. It's what an 8A championship should be. And the coach may not know it, but he knows. He's expecting it.
Here it is.
He sees it coming. I've never seen anybody pose for it. That was nice. Oh, was somebody holding up a mirror for him or something?
There are your state champs in 2017. Lincoln Way East runs the table. A 14-0 mark and a 23-14 win over Loyola Academy to claim the state title. A remarkable game in so many twists and turns, in a game that numbers seem to matter, or not. In the end, 2 big runs by A.J. Henning. The difference makes it Sergio's interception, stops the drive, and the 2nd state title in school history to Lincoln Way East, a match one they had in 2005.
And a great moment. I don't know if our viewers actually caught it, but Brendan Morrissey, the senior quarterback, just found one of his fellow seniors, cornerback Kweku Apaya, in tears on the field in joy and celebration for his first state title, the first state title for the seniors on this class. And boy, you talk about well-deserved. And also, hats off to the kids from Loyola. They certainly didn't make it easy. It looked like the game might be theirs to have until the final 4 or 5 minutes. Dave, we just saw a ton of great performances, particularly on defense, but a couple of offensive superstars in A.J. Henning, in Noah Jones and Rory Booz. in Brendan. I mean, the kid absolutely, playing through an injury. Brendan Morrissey, All-State running back last year, took over quarterback this year. He couldn't be the player that he is tonight, but what he is a state championship, the quarterback of the 8A state champions in Illinois.
There is A.J. Henning, just a sophomore, finishing up his sophomore year in football. He still has track to go this year. Henning ends up with 17 carries, 154 yards, and a couple of touchdowns for a Lincoln Way East team that only had 10 first downs tonight compared to 20 from Loyola. Griffins were outgained tonight in a little bit closer margin than we may have thought. A couple of those big plays, of course, 354 to 253, but in the end, it's that Griffin right there that's going to celebrate a state championship back in Frankfort. Rob Zvonar had talked after the regular season what a group of character players he had. Character in terms of fighting through, what was the word we used in the pregame? Adversity.
Adversity, yeah.
And they certainly had it tonight and capped off an amazing season.
It was just 2 years ago that 11 of the starters for Lincoln Way East tonight didn't go to school here. Remember, Rob told us when we were talking earlier this week, one of the things that he is proudest of is 22 starters tonight. 11 of them were transferred into school just a year and a half ago, 2 seasons ago.
Those people came from Lincoln Way North last year, despite getting into the playoffs and running deep all the way to the quarterfinals before losing to the eventual state champions. Lincoln Way East had to absorb these players. They also lost players to Lincoln Way Central, so it was players coming in, players leaving. It took a year to completely put it together, and indeed with the skill and the character, this is the result.
The other thing that Rob talked about early in our conversations this week and seemed to be the happiest about is he said that this team has the best grade point average and the best ACT and SAT scores of any team he's ever coached, that the academic excellence on this team is actually matching the football excellence.
Well, the handshake line is just completed. You have 2 huge rosters, and it's time to celebrate with your classmates. And it's time for us to go to Sierra Santos with Rob Zvonar.
Coach, you told me at halftime, when you had a 7-0 lead, you said, I wish this was over. It is over. You are a state champion.
You saw why I said that, boy. They stormed back, and we were on our heels the whole third quarter. They took the lead. Our guys did what they did all year. They kept believing. They kept their persistence, their resolve, and they kept the belief. And they loved each other like a family, and they came through. And, we kicked the field goal to go up. The D stops them. We punch another one in. And I'm just so happy for the kids in our community right now.
You said Brandon Morrissey is a warrior. How hard did he battle tonight?
Yeah, he didn't practice one bit this week. This guy here was taking snaps and doing his thing. But Brendan was a warrior, and you hung in there with a kid like him. He's a high-character young man, a captain of our team. He's an amazing young man, and he got it done for us.
15 straight playoff appearances, but the first championship since 2005. How does this cement your legacy with this program?
Well, it's not about me. I'm going to tell you that right now, but it's been special. Our school district's gone through some different changes, and we've been to the state championship game under each demographic, whether it was us and Mokina or us and Frankfort Square and whatever it is. But this is as special as it comes, and we loved every group that came before this. But 14-0 with our schedule and finishing up tonight against one of the best teams in the country, in my opinion, in John Holosek's Loyola group. I'm just so happy and proud of our kids, and I'm just overwhelmed with gratefulness and humility right now.
Well, congratulations, Coach. I think you got a celebration to get to. I'm going to bring in this young man who had an incredible night.
Thank you.
What can you say about that performance?
Just a great effort by our offensive line, and just an overall good team win.
You're just a sophomore. There's a whole lot more of this to come. What can we look forward to in the future?
Definitely trying to be back here next year and getting the win again. Working hard and looking to be back here next year.
Can you describe this moment, winning a championship? You're only a sophomore.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. I've dreamed of this ever since I was a little kid, and this feels great.
All right, well, congratulations. We'll let you go celebrate with your team. Get on over there. We'll have the trophy presentation as soon as we come back. You're watching the IHSA state finals.
We welcome you back to our Menards Trophy presentations. First of all, Loyola Academy picking up that runner-up trophy, fourth time in school history that they have finished second in the state football finals, go along with a couple of state football championships. John Holisek getting that medal around his neck, and adversity, I keep coming back there, the adversity that this Loyola team to get here with the tremendous number of injuries they had all throughout the year.
It's got to be bittersweet. You know, Dave, it's their third year in a row here. It's the second year in a row they get the consolation prize. But not only overcoming injuries, some of their kids didn't get back. I mean, they're playing with underclassmen. And this is a program in which the seniors know they wait and that they're always a senior-heavy team because they're constantly putting kids through the program, and they were close tonight. I mean, you know, last year it got away from them a little bit in the second half. Maine South, I think, for the most part through the fourth quarter. But tonight, up until 3.5, 4 minutes left, you almost had a sense that they were the team of destiny. And to come this close and not get it done, I'm sure they're disappointed right now. But they played a great football game. Really impressed by that defense, really impressed. I mentioned Charles Gross and the job he did, matched up all night with an All-American. You know, the two kids at wide receiver, you know, Booz and Jones, will be back next year. These kids have got nothing to hang their heads about. Quinn Boyle was outstanding. I mean, he's the player of the year in one of the best conferences in America, and I know it hurts for him right now, but I hope that sometime real soon, maybe tonight, next couple days, they'll begin to enjoy what they accomplished because they had a tremendous season and they certainly did themselves proud tonight.
Now our Menards Trophy presentation continues with the Griffins from Lincoln Way East getting their medals, getting their trophy, and for Lincoln Way East, the grind that this season becomes and the way it has all come together and the raw emotion that we saw from so many players and fans and just friends of the program. And right now, it's kind of a calm bunch of fellas getting those medals around their neck. A perfect 14-0 season for Lincoln Way East. Again, throughout this entire weekend, we have been, we'll recap it in just a moment, but been really the guests of some outstanding games for Hub and me. We had the overtime game in 7A. This one came right down to the final minutes. And this is truly what the state championships are all about. And I truly believe this is one of the greatest weekends of IHSA football championships ever. And it caps off with Lincoln Way East raising the Class 8A state championship trophy. They do it by virtue of a 23-14 win here tonight against Loyola Academy. The Ramblers making their third straight appearance in the state finals.
It's a really well-played football game, outstanding defensive effort, and we'll come back to the young man one more time. A.J. Henning, looking forward to watching him the next couple of years, as well as all the other underclassmen on this team. No doubt when you look at their history that Lincoln Way East is going to be back here as well, but they're the ones who, this is their moment. You know, these kids have worked 2, 3, 4 years, and now they are the state champions and enjoying every second of it.
And our championship grid is complete. There it is, 1A through 8A. We started yesterday morning with Lena Winslow claiming the 1A title. We finished with Lincoln Way East, and here was Lena Winslow. Ravian Valentine got things started. And for Lewin, they'll raise the championship trophy with a 21-20 win over Tuscola. On to 2A, Gibson City, Melvin Sibley, making their first appearance in a state championship ball game. The Falcons facing Maroa Forsyth. This was a game that featured 7 lead changes before GCMS claimed the state title. Big touchdown pass here. And with that, the trophy goes back to Central Illinois. In 3A, looking to go back-to-back was IC Catholic Prep. They did just that with a 35-0 win. And then on the final play of the game, Rochester goes back-to-back. They win their 7th title in 8 years on that game-winning field goal. That wrapped up play yesterday. Then today, it was all Wildcats, as in Phillips Wildcats. Second state championship in the last 3 years, both coming here at Husky Stadium as they knocked off Dunlap here in 5A after getting the 4A title a couple of years ago. 6A, it doesn't get much better than this. Nazareth Academy, Prairie Ridge, that interception sealed it. The Wolves go back-to-back, 28 straight victories to claim the 6A state championship. To 7A, billed as a tight matchup. Indeed, it goes to overtime. Batavia, the touchdown pass in overtime. And the incompletion by Lake Zurich gives the state championship to the Bulldogs from Batavia. They pick up their second in school history. And then tonight, the game you just witnessed, a classic. Big plays by Lincoln Way East. Interceptions, long touchdown runs. Lincoln Way East, they get their second state title in school history. They do it by virtue of a 23-14 win over Loyola Academy, and it all feels good. Thanks for joining us for an entire fantastic weekend here at Husky Stadium. For Hub Arkish, I'm Dave Bernhardt. Thanks for being with us.